one of those deals where you can't get the forecast right. You know, most of us didn't get any rain, so if you say, well, maybe a few showers, they go, he said it was going to rain. It's not going to rain.
The worst of the weather is in that band.
If you talk to any meteorologist, chances are that he or she saw something when they were young that influenced them in such a way that they said, what is going on? For me, it was a tornado outbreak.
Here's the storm that is producing a tornado. That appears like that's an F2 or an F3, which would mean wind speeds in excess of 225, 250 miles an hour.
For many people at the TV station here in South Florida, it was a hurricane, like Hurricane Andrew.
I'm sad to report that the death toll from Hurricane Andrew is now up to 8.
They see the pictures, or in my case, actually see the damage up close. You look at it as a teenager and you say, this is incredible. How could weather do something like this? So it sparks that curiosity.
Bob, did you ever think it would be this bad? No, I did not. I don't think any of us comprehended this. I've looked.
The tornado could be doing damage as we speak.
You study a lot about weather, obviously, but you also study, and some people may be surprised to hear this, maybe not, you study a lot about the environment, you study a lot about physics. So you're doing a tremendous amount of math.
This one has winds of 30 and the Hurricane Center upping the odds that it might form.
When I look at meteorology and what a meteorologist does in preparing a forecast, especially a broadcast meteorologist, it kind of fits into 3 categories or 3 different titles. Number one, I'm kind of a detective, and I'm a detective trying to solve a mystery, and the mystery is, what is tomorrow's weather going to be? We're predicting the future here when you think about it, and it's so difficult, but like a detective, we have all these great clues. We have satellites that tell us what's going on. We have radars. We have these amazing computer models that can predict the future. And you have your head, you have your knowledge, you have your experience, and you have your education. You put all that together, and sometimes it can take a couple of hours to solve the mystery, but you do it every day, and the mystery is solved and you have a forecast.
All bringing the storm toward Florida. Here's the new track. You can see it Thursday, moving much slower than we anticipated. Thursday, Category 3, 120 miles per hour.
People who have lived here for maybe a year or two are convinced we have 2 types of weather, hot and hotter. Well, they're right in one sense. We do have 2 types of weather. We have the dry season and we have the wet season. Now, the dry season, it's incredible. It's fantastic. It's sunny, it's warm, it's dry. It starts around November 1st, runs it through May 15th. It's the reason so many people are here during the wintertime. It's the weather that made us famous. We all love the dry season. The wet season, which starts on May 15th and runs until the end of October, is the opposite. It's characterized by nearly constant temperatures. They hardly ever change.
Coming back tomorrow with a high temperature of 89.
High temperatures are in the upper 80s and the low temperatures are in the mid 70s, and the humidity is really high. The other aspect of the wet season, as the name implies, is it's very wet. We get about 65 to 70% of our annual rainfall during those summer and early fall months. It rains almost every day. In fact, it's a rare sight indeed across the entire state if we do not have rain somewhere in the Florida Peninsula. There are 4 basic types of clouds. You have the low clouds, like stratus clouds, which is like fog. You have middle clouds, which would be cumulus clouds, the puffy white clouds that look like cotton balls floating through the sky. And then much farther higher in the sky, you have the high clouds, which are like cirrus clouds. They're made of ice crystals because they're so high up in the atmosphere, it's pretty chilly. I mean, if you went to the top up there, you need a jacket because temperatures would be quite cold there. And then you have the 4th type, which is the most common during the summertime. Those are the clouds that build from the lower elevations and rise to the top. Cumulonimbus clouds, for example, the clouds that will produce showers and storms. Those are the ones that will produce a thunderstorm. And what's interesting about the thunderstorms in South Florida is they don't last very long. They're called convective thunderstorms. They're built up by the heat. Convective meaning heat, and they're sometimes produced by the sea breeze front as it moves inland. So you'll have a thunderstorm, it'll build up, and the average lifespan of a thunderstorm in South Florida is about 45 minutes from the time it forms until the time it dissipates. So we have thunderstorms in the afternoon. The sea breeze has formed, it's pushing inland and generating showers and storms. So as these storms develop, we have air going up, and then we have downdrafts coming down. Sometimes, for example, you'll be outside and there'll be a storm in the distance and you'll feel cool air coming your way. That's that downdraft from the thunderstorm coming from 25, 30,000 feet up. Well, as that cooler air rushes to the ground, it acts almost as if a little mini cool front. We call it an outflow boundary, and that can generate more storms. So the point is that once these storms get going, they tend to kind of feed off each other. One will fall apart after 45 minutes, and that will produce another one that will last for another 45 minutes, and this can go on until the sun sets, and then usually they lost their energy and they're all starting to fall apart. Tornadoes in Florida can form three different ways. The most common is from little thunderstorm. It'll put down a weak tornado, EF0, EF1, winds 50, 60 miles per hour, won't last very long, over the Everglades. That's the most common. The second way is when a hurricane is approaching. In the right front quadrant, as the storm is moving toward the coastline, it'll spin up little tornadoes. And back in 2017, we had Hurricane Irma.
I have this on 3D mode. You see in these outer bands, they have produced numerous tornado warnings for us in excess.
And that storm, after hitting Cuba, was moving towards South Florida. We were in that right front quadrant. And as the storm approached, we had tornadoes left and right. So that's the second way. And then the third way that tornadoes can impact Florida is during the dry season. You get a cold front coming down with big upper level support, the jet stream kind of helping push it, and that can fire up big tornadoes, especially in central and northern Florida.
The new analysis shows we here in Florida are at the highest risk of getting killed by a twister in the U.S.
Awful tornado outbreaks in February, say in Orlando, that unfortunately claimed many lives. So when you add up all those tornadoes, Florida will rank surprisingly in the top 10 when it comes to states that produce tornadoes. Because tornadoes form three different ways, we have a number of tornadoes here too.
Is Ivan headed our way?
Have the power, they can continue to see where Francis is sitting.
This Category 3 major storm.
The one we're most concerned about, though, is Hurricane Andrew off the east coast of the United States.
Oh, Florida has a rich hurricane history, in part because of geography. If you look at a map, we kind of stick out. It's one of the reasons Florida has been hit by so many hurricanes. And our part of Florida, from the Keys, Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, Martin County, we stick out even more. So obviously, we've been hit by more hurricanes. And some of the most famous hurricanes of all time have made landfall in Florida. You know, we go through different categories of hurricanes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And actually, when you look at the hurricane season, to actually create a hurricane is difficult. Think about it this way. You know, we have millions and millions of lightning strikes every day across the country. On average, there's about 1,000 tornadoes each year across the United States. But in the Atlantic, the Caribbean, and the Gulf, the waters we watch, over a 6-month hurricane season, on average, you get 6 hurricanes. It takes a special series of circumstances all coming together at the right time to create a hurricane. And big ones like Category 3, 4, or 5, what we call major hurricanes, are even more rare.
Major Hurricane Dorian continues to intensify. It is now a Category 5 powerhouse hurricane.
But they occur, and Florida has been hit by a lot of Category 3s and a lot of Category 4s. Thankfully, only 4 Category 5 hurricanes have ever made landfall in the United States, but 3 hit Florida. 1935, the Labor Day hurricane hit the Keys. 1992, Hurricane Andrew, that changed everything, hit Miami-Dade County on August 24th, 1992. And just recently, another Category 5, Michael, made landfall in Florida's Panhandle. So because of geography, we're in jeopardy many times during the hurricane season. And yes, we have a rich history when it comes to hurricanes here.